Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you a game, Kashgar, Händler der Seidenstraße, which translates to Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road, I believe. And this game is published in Germany by Cosmos. It's only available in German, so you would have to do a rules translation of the cards and the rules in order to play it. There are translations already on Board Game Geek, so you'll just have to do paste ups for the cards. The game plays from 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, in about 60 minutes. I would say with 2 players, it would play more like 30 minutes. It's just the number of players that you have will determine how long the game goes. So a 3-player game would be about 45 minutes, I would guess. I'll take a moment to show you how the game works, and I'll come back and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so this is what one player's setup would look like at the beginning of Kashgar. Each player is going to get 3 Patriarch cards, and then 3 starting cards, which are drawn from a deck of 12 that they'll place behind each of their Patriarch cards. And these will be called the 3 players' caravans during the game. Each player will also get a goods marker where they'll be able to store goods and track how many of each good type they have over the course of the game using these wooden tokens. Each one will start at 3, and these goods are ginger, cloves, pepper, I guess that's star anise, cinnamon, gold, and donkeys. I should note that this game does come in German. The game comes with German cards. I didn't use these. I just printed up some custom cards in English using Arts Cow. That's an option. Also, you could do paste ups for the cards. There is no English version available for the game. Beyond that, there is a deck of normal cards, which will just be placed here. There's about 150, maybe 100, 150 of those. Then there are a deck of special cards. These are more powerful characters that you could recruit into your caravans. And then there are contracts that players can complete. Each contract will give you a certain number of victory points. They have a type. They could be small, medium, large, or special, I believe. And they have a mule requirement. You'll have to have that many mules available. And then sometimes you'll have to spend the mules or spices to complete the contract. Also gold you might need to spend. So 4 of those will be flipped out. Whenever one's completed, another one will come out. So the way that this game works is that players are going to be managing these various caravans and trying to be the first person to accumulate 25 victory points. If a player gets to 25 victory points, that will initiate the end of the round, and you'll just finish out that round. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the round will be the winner. So the way that the game works is that these cards, here's an example, the Patriarch here, it has 2 possible actions. The first action is to draw 2 cards from the standard deck. That would be that large deck that I showed you. And then you're going to discard one and put the other one at the end of your caravan. Whenever you execute a card, it will slide back to the back of the caravan. So you're always going to be cycling through the cards within the caravan. The other option is to turn the card over to the matriarch side. Then we go here to the back of the caravan. And then when it got up to the front of your caravan as the matriarch, you would turn it over to the patriarch side. You would search the discard pile from the normal cards, and then you could pick one without a parting action. I'll explain what that is in a moment, and place it at the end of the caravan. So basically your options are to draw 2 cards from the pile, pick one, put it in the back of your caravan, or with the matriarch, draw a card from the discard pile and put it at the back of your caravan. And these cards, the patriarch, matriarch cards, have this exclamation point on them, and essentially what that means is that's going to be a mandatory action. Every time that these cards are at the front of your caravan, you are required to execute them. This card, the servant card, does not have an exclamation point. If this was at the front of one of your caravans, if you wanted to, you could just pass, move it to the back of your caravan, and not execute this action. You'll note that this action is an orange action. That's essentially called a parting action. And whenever you do a parting action, it's generally a more powerful action, but you'll discard the card out of your caravan into the discard pile. And you'll note also that some of these cards have victory points on them. This, for example, is worth 3 victory points. This card, if it's in your caravan, you're considered to have 3 victory points, as long as that's the case. Again, if you discard it out, you'll lose those 3 victory points as well. So basically the game will work just like that, with you executing the one of the actions of one of the cards at the front of one of your caravans, and that's all that you'll do on your turn. Essentially, you'll be trying to accumulate goods that you'll be able to use to acquire contracts, or just acquire cards in your caravans are going to be worth points. Again, trying to be the first person to get to 25 points. So in practice, that would look something like this. So I might use this Patriarch action, move that to the back of the line, and I get to draw 2 cards, and I could take one of these two. I could either take this Market Woman, who will allow me to increase every type of spice by 1, or this Basket Maker, who I could get 3 pepper and 3 cinnamon, or a one-time use of donkeys and gold. So I might just, for example, keep this Market Woman. She would slide behind the Patriarch, and that would be my turn. We go to the next player, then when it comes back to me, I could execute, again, any one of the caravans. So let's say I do the City Watch card. This will allow me to take a special card and place it at the end of this caravan. Again, by doing that, I'm losing 2 points. So I would just draw a special card and place it at the end of my caravan. You can see this Blacksmith card. He allows me to get 1 donkey, 2 mules, and 1 spice of my choice. That's what that symbol means. And he'll be worth 2 points as well. So that's a really decent card. You know, it'll be the other player's turn. Up to 4 players can play this game. Then when it came back to me, I might choose to, let me just look what was there. I'd probably do a Patriarch here again, hopefully getting something that would allow me to complete contracts. So again, I got another Market Woman and a Planter who could spend pepper to increase things. So maybe I'll take the Planter. Now you'll notice here is that over the course of the game, the more times you run your column with the Patriarch action, the larger the caravan gets, and the harder it is to cycle through your actions. So I might do this. This Market Woman, she'll increase all my spices by 1, so I would just slide up those markers all by 1. And let me just find a contract card for the sake of speeding up the game. Take that out. I'll show you that in a minute. So eventually I might, for example, use a Patriarch. Let's say down here I use this Patriarch, and one of my 2 options is a Spice Merchant. And he'll allow you to fulfill a contract by paying the requirements of the contract. You'll notice he's also a -1 point. And if I have him here, that's great. Now, let's see. I might do this Wainwright next on my next turn. So I could either bring my donkeys up to 5 or my gold to 6. Let's say I bring my donkeys to 5. Again, I have to discard that out. That would go like that. Then the next time the Patriarch comes, I might choose to flip it to a Matriarch. That's one way to avoid immediately taking cards within a row, so you could cycle through your caravan more quickly. And then on my next turn, I could then do the Spice Merchant contract fulfillment. So again, he'll slide to the back, and then I could choose any of these contracts. All, like I said, they all give victory points, and I'll just turn in the spices that are required. So the most valuable one here would be, let's say this one. Oh, maybe this one's even easier. So I would just look. I have 3 donkeys, so I'm able to complete it. I have 5. Then I would turn in 2 ginger. I would turn in 1 pepper, 1 cinnamon, and 1 donkey. And then I would get to keep that contract face up in front of me, and that'd be 3 points towards the 25 that I need to collect. So the game will just keep going like this, with players increasing the abilities of their caravans until some player hits 25 points. Again, one would come out, since I flipped out one of these, just to show you what a large contract might look like. This one would give you 5 points, but it has more requirements. There are also these special contracts. They will give you this farmer symbol, which if you get a farmer card in one of your caravans, will be worth the number of these that you've collected, but they take a lot of gold to use. They don't give that many points. And let's see, there are some of these special contracts that when you spend them, so here you have to turn in 3 mules, but you'll get 6 gold. Otherwise, they're just generally variations of the same sort of thing, just giving you different number of victory points for a different number of resources. There are a lot of variable card abilities. I won't go through them all here, but for example, this one here allows you to remove a Patriarch from one of your caravans, which is powerful because it allows you then to just, for example, if I remove the Patriarch from this caravan here, not only would this card go away because it's a parting action, but then I would only have the Spice Merchant, which would just allow me to fulfill a contract at any time if I was able to have just one card in there, or just two cards. One that gave me goods, one that allowed me to fulfill a contract. That could be very powerful, since this is essentially a race game to 25 points. Some of them give you more options. This one, I could increase gold or a spice, or I could get rid of a card in the caravan. So that's interesting. There are some that affect other opponents. There are some that let you do something like this: draw two contracts from the deck, if possible, fulfill one of them. So a little bit of gambling there. And there are some that let you convert one type of resource into another type of resource, and so on. Here's a fun one. This one, for the number of fulfilled contracts that you have, you increase your gold by 1 and your pepper by 1. Or you could draw special cards for each fulfilled contracts that you've had and pick one. When some of those special cards are extremely powerful. Then there's this card, which I'll talk about a little bit in my comments, the Farrier. For 6 gold and 1 mule, you could draw 3 contracts from the deck, and you can complete any special contracts and 1 small contract from those that you've drawn. So, for example, if I drew 1, 2, 3, if I've executed his action, I would automatically complete this contract. Not this contract because it's large, but this contract, so those would just be completed immediately. But that just gives you a general sense of how Kashgar plays out, and I'll come back and give you my thoughts on it. Alright, so that is Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road. And I guess I'll lead off by saying that this is a deck building game, and I guess an engine building game. And normally I'm not a huge fan of deck building games. I don't really generally like games that have a lot of cards with special powers that you have to learn and be able to react against. But I really do like this game. I think that it's somehow, I think the fact that you're only executing 1 card each turn and your opponents are only doing the same makes it a lot less card combo heavy than something, some of the other deck builder games out there. For some reason, this one just clicks with me, even though I'm not a big fan of the genre. I'm not a big fan of CCGs generally. Some deck building games I like. I do like something like Dominion, but generally I like the simpler games like that. And this one, although it's, it's pretty simple rules-wise, strategically it's got a lot of depth, and the cards that you're going to get are going to, work together in interesting ways, and trying to figure out the best route to get to those 25 points first is always an interesting puzzle. So it's something that I really enjoy. It's just, I think that really comes down to just having that 1 action per turn that makes it super interesting to me, and something that doesn't get overwhelming. I will say that there are some caveats. I think that you will essentially need a card that allows you to complete contracts, and there are a lot of those in the deck, but sometimes those become scarce just because of the luck of the draw, and a player who gets that earlier than other players at the table could really start to run away with the game. That's something I've seen a few times I've played it. Not every time. Like I said, they are plentiful, so usually it's not an issue, but that can be an issue. Also, there's this one card, and there's several variations of cards like this, but this card here, the Farrier, as it's translated in my version at least, this one allows you to just draw those special contracts and just automatically complete those. It's pretty expensive. It takes 6 gold and a donkey to run him, but there are cards that generate a lot of gold in the game, so if you get a combination of one of those cards plus that guy, essentially you're altering the way the game plays out. You're just drawing cards every few turns and hopefully completing contracts automatically, and that normally doesn't sound like a huge problem, but I've seen that strategy win a lot of times over the course of my plays of this game. I do wonder if the card is really balanced. Maybe that needs to be more expensive, or maybe I should just pull that out. That's just something that I've noticed playing the game many times, that card, if somebody sets things up, they will almost be unbeatable because of the luck of the draw. And it seems like kind of against the spirit of the game, although there are other cards that do allow you to draw cards and complete them. That one's just especially powerful. But otherwise, this is, a really unique game. It doesn't feel like other deck building games, and I think that people who like games like Dominion would almost certainly like games like this, although people who tend to like Euro games, which is the category I put myself in, will like it as well. It's a really interesting resource conversion game that plays really smoothly and really, cleanly, in not much time at all, 15 minutes per player, I would say. It's really just a shame that it's not available in Germany. Again, you could import it and then print up translations, and I think that it does warrant the effort to do that. Overall, it's a game I'd highly recommend. That is Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road. So, thanks for watching.